Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a track from a sample. So what do I mean by that? Because obviously we use samples all the time, but I'm talking about when you take when you sample another track. So if you think along the lines of Eric Prydz, Call on Me, Bingo Players, Cry, so even Roger Sanchez, Another Chance, where they have took another track and they've cut a bit out of it and they've sampled that part of the track. Now, most of them guys would have obviously remade it. You can't just rip a part of a track, make your own track around it, and then release it. You can't do that. So most of them tracks would have been sort of remade. But today, obviously, I'm going to show you how you can do that. How you can sample a track and then make it into a song or a bootleg. Even sometimes they're called bootlegs. And I'll show you a couple of things, techniques that you can use to make sure that the sample sits in your mix properly. So I'll play through this track. What I've made now, you'll probably recognise the sample that's in here. And then we'll go through it and have a look at what we've actually done. Okay, so there's a quick playthrough of the track. As you can probably tell there, you can probably tell which sample it is. So now I want to go into what I've done. There's a lot of automation involved in sort of stuff like this. If you listen to Call on Me and Bingo Players Cry, you'll hear there's a lot of automation involved because they're doing a lot of filtering stuff on the sample. So I'll show you what I've done to the sample, and then we'll look at some of the other stuff. So the first of all, we've only took one part of it, and it's this main part of it here. It's just the chorus part. Where we're going here, keep this all turned on. So the first thing I've done is I've pitched it up one semitone. Now the reason I've done that is sometimes they'll do that in tracks, they'll pitch them up, but the reason I've done that is because when I put this on YouTube, I don't want it just to be taken straight down. I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be able to monetize it, although I'll certainly try. But if YouTube flag it, hopefully pitching it up might try and fool their algorithm that they use. If not, it don't really matter. I'll still leave it up anyway. But yeah, so I pitched it up one. Sometimes you know you don't need to pitch it up. I've just cut the main part of the track out. Now one thing I've done, I've obviously lined it up so that each bar hits. I've changed the BPM, but then what I've actually done, if you noticed here, I've actually just ever so slightly dragged the sample back a bit, because obviously this is quite an odd song, and sometimes they're not recorded indoors. Well, obviously they're not recorded indoors, they're recorded sort of live, which you probably find a lot with the earlier songs, and so the kicks sway off. Sometimes the kicks a little early, sometimes it's a little late, and the last thing that you want is wanting the kick to overlap, because when you add your own kick, you'll have issues where you'll hear like the slap of their kick over your kick. So if you move it back a little tiny bit, once we add sidechain on it, you won't hear that at all. So that's one tip, is just to move it back ever so slightly. So what are all these filters? So the first filter we've got here on the sample is a low pass filter. So we're cutting out, a high pass filter. So we're cutting out all the lows of the track. Now we only want to cut the lows out when our sounds are playing. So this is why we've done this. So when you see this up here, this basically means that the filter is fully on and it's cutting out all the low end of the track. So we'll play it from here. So you can hear when it kicks in here that this is now playing the sample with the bass and stuff, you know, just completely original sample, because there's nothing else playing here, so we want the bass and stuff to come through. And then once it kicks back in, we want to take the bass out, because we want to add his own bass, his own kick, his own low end in there to sort of modernise it a little bit. So what have I done with the sample? I've just cut the last bit of the sample here, and this is really the fun part of sampling, is I've just cut the last part of the sample and looped it. And then I've got a filter on that, but we'll look at it in a second, and then it kicks in. And then towards the end here, I've just done the same thing. I've just stuttered the sample. Now what I've also done here, I've added a phaser in. So we take the phaser out. Yep. So you can hear when it kicks back in, the filter is fully working again. So I've added a phaser in here as well. This is just to give it a bit of variation as well. It's another great technique we can use. And we're automating this here. This is what's automating the filter. And obviously once it kicks back in, the phaser's coming off. This is the sidechain. So when this is fully up, the track's fully sidechained. And when it's down, there's no sidechain on the track at all. So that's what you're hearing. And then it's kicking in. And then obviously we want the sidechain to start again, so we can put our drums and stuff in it, and it gives it a nice sort of pumping effect. So when you're thinking about sampling, you're thinking of likes of Daft Punk and Eric Prydz and all that sort of good stuff. Filter's a big important part of this. So we actually have another filter on here as well. And this is a filter that's just letting the low end through, so it's filtering up with this, and then it's when it hits the drop, when it hits the breakdown, sorry, we just have it filtering back up. And then here, and then obviously at the end we have it filtering back down again, so it fits back in. So basically the track is in two sections. This section here is just a copy paste of this section, so they're both the same really. I mean, you can add some variation to the second section, which I probably would advise you do. A couple of different instruments in there or something, or maybe a different pattern here just to give it a bit of variety. But for this, I have just kept it so very simple. So there are the main elements of the track. So we've got the filter, the sidechain. We're cutting off the low end of the sample so that our kick comes through. So this is it with our kick. And this is the reason why, because this is what will happen if we don't. So if we move it forward a bit, you'll hear the kick. So you can hear that coming through there. What that is that's their kick playing just before our kick comes in, and it gives it like a mushy sort of clappy, like a, I don't know what to explain really, but you'll hear it sort of slapping down. Because we pulled it back slightly, the sidechain is taking away any hack of the kick from the original sample. It's allowing our kick just to play through itself. Now, to make this very simple, I've just added a basic Vengeance drum loop in. You can add them in, you can build your own loops, it's perfectly fine. This is just a very, very basic loop in there. So what have we also done to the actual sample itself as well? So I've always had a compressor in there to sort of keep it nice and level. We've also added an OTT in there just to maximise the volume, maximise the sort of sound. I want a nice, crisp, clear, loud sound. And then we've had some EQ. We're just boosting the singing part of it really, and sort of a bit towards the highs as well, just so that it comes through a bit more clearer in the mix. So with this, what we've also done is I've also added my own chords. So it's not my own chords. I've added the chords from the track, which is this, with a modern sound. I've also added a bass line in there as well. So the bass line is in two parts. I have a sort of sub-8 sound, which is called Kung Fu from it's actually a preset. It's very prydz sounding. And then I've just added a sort of running sound on top of that. And what I've actually done to the other sound, I've actually cut the low end out because I don't want too much sub in it. So I've cut the low end out of the running bass, and that's going to be just completely done by the high end. So I've cut the low end of the running bass out, and then I've filtered it through this channel. So right click and then filter it through, so both the side chains are playing to both of them. So we'll listen to that with the kick. And again, what we've got quite a lot of white noise, sweeps and drops and fills and all sorts of stuff in as well. Crashes, all that sort of good stuff, sort of fills here as well. Look. Just to make it more modern and sit in. Now the couple of final things is a string. So I have a high string playing. I've just got a basic doubler on here, because otherwise it's very thin. Now I've left this playing through the sample as well, just to give it so it's got something else there as well. Because obviously once we add this part in here, this is a very low part, so obviously all the highs are cut out with this. So just to make sure that it doesn't sound like you're listening to this in a different room, we've left this high string in playing as well, so it's keeping the spectrum open a bit. Then what we've also got as well is just at the start, and then when it repeats again, we've just got this little ARP sound coming through. This is taken from Hybrid. Again, not special there, it's just following the bass line, and then we're going to have it playing here and playing there, just to give it a bit, so it's not like just dry. Just gives a listener something else to listen out to before this sort of sample comes in. So a couple of things then that's the basic track. So a couple of things that you, when sort of making these sort of tracks, if you're going to go out there and sample a track, a couple of things you need to try to include. Again, there's no real formula for making music, but a couple of things you try to include. Obviously, try to keep the sample as clean as you can. Make sure you cut in the low end and stuff when you're adding your own sample, when you're adding your own drums and stuff over the top. Make sure that your drums, they're not wishy-washy, and it's not like playing too early. Try to time it as best you can, even if you need to individually cut every single kick and move it about itself. It's only a 4-bar loop, so it's not going to take you forever. Like I said, one of the things is making sure it hits just after the actual your kick, so that the sidechain takes it out. Make sure you're including plenty of filtering in there. Make sure you've got some special effects in there, like sort of phasing and stuff like that, and and again adding stuff like high strings in and white noise and stuff like that makes the track much more modern sort of sounding. So that's about it, guys, really, for this video. If any questions or anything else you'd like to see me take a look at, or any particular techniques or anything, or if you want me to go into if you've anything you're not sure about this video, again, you can come over to Discord and drop a line there. I've been a bit more active on Discord lately. I'm constantly popping in and then you know, interacting with people. If you want to hit me up on there, you're more than welcome to do that. But apart from that, guys, this is about it for this video. Thanks for watching.